My name's James Potter. I'm Managing Director of Superstructures. Superstructures is a structural engineering consultancy. We have offices in Ipswich and Cambridge. A lot of people ask me what a structural engineer is. They don't really understand. I always tell them we put maths and physics into building design, effectively. We work in teams in the construction industry across all sectors. So residential projects, commercial projects, schools, across the board. Kind of objective number one is that we design buildings so they don't fall down. At 18, I think I still had 2 earrings, and I had recently lost my driving licence for a misdemeanour on a motorbike, but I was doing my A-levels. Interestingly for me, I guess, I had no interest in the construction industry or engineering. I wanted to be a designer, so I was really focused on being a designer, creating things, lots of drawing. I was doing an art A-level as well. I just hadn't been exposed to the construction industry, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do now in terms of working with young people, working with colleges, trying to educate people about the construction industry and the opportunities in it. At the time, I was working in outdoor catering, and I guess that was one of the best things I ever did. So I was working in high-profile environments, big weddings, really demanding clients, high-pressure environment, and I just wanted to, even then I wanted to go as high as I could go in that company. So I was in a management role at the age of 18, running big functions, learning how to manage staff, learning how to work with demanding clients, hitting really hard deadlines, and just working sort of 80-hour weeks. That's what I was doing. Yeah. I think I'd be a little bit more prepared for the highs and lows in the first 6 months. So obviously it's a really exciting time. When I started out, I think I remember talking to somebody who'd run a business for a number of years, and they said, make the most out of year one because it is the most exciting. I wouldn't say it has been the most exciting, but it is incredibly exciting. It's all new. Everything's a challenge, and I love a challenge. But there were times, even probably the second day that I got out of bed and I was on my own, I remember thinking, I kind of wish maybe I could go back and just be employed. My first project was really challenging. It's really difficult going from working in an office with 20 people around you, bouncing ideas around, to just working on your own, and also just the stress of workload. I had a lot of work coming through the door straight away. It was really stressful, and I don't think maybe I'd prepared myself enough for that. When I planned my business, I looked at it and thought, I could probably just work half days, and that would be enough for me. I didn't realise I was going to be working 7 days a week, 10, 12-hour days sometimes. So I didn't prepare myself for that. So I'd like to be more prepared. I would, looking back now that I know a lot more about running a business, I think I would like to probably have accelerated that business growth a bit more, been a bit more adventurous, probably looked at maybe some funding, and just to, costs in the early days seem massive. You think about marketing costs and costs of consultants that you might need, have a business coach, great marketing consultant, PR. Those people are expensive, but they add so much value to your business, and they can accelerate the growth of your business so quickly. And I think now, looking back on it, I wish I'd probably been a little bit more aggressive about how I did that to get us to a point where we were more successful earlier on. And the third one is I wish I'd grown the team faster, and that's different to getting investment to pay for software and services and consultants, but it's finding the right people and getting them in earlier. Taking employees on is difficult, and some people see it as a big risk, but actually the sooner you can get a great team around you, the sooner you can not step back from your business, but the sooner you can actually concentrate on running your business, growing your business, developing your client base. And it's difficult to do that in the early days, and it's difficult when you start a business doing a job. You know, I was a structural engineer, doing 90% of the time I was doing design work. It's difficult to turn around one day and say, I'm not doing design work anymore, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm actually going to be kind of running a business. And it's quite difficult for you, and it's quite difficult for your team, but actually the sooner you can do that, the better. So I wish I had done that a little bit earlier. This is going to be a little bit of a cliche, actually, for all structural engineers, but it was probably the day that I passed my chartered exam, and it wasn't just because there was a great sense of achievement in that. I didn't start out to be a structural engineer, so I had to do I jumped through an awful lot of hoops when I re-qualified, and I also failed my first chartered exam. And so I was tempted not to bother. I was already part qualified. I was tempted not to bother sitting it. I sat it again. It wasn't just that. It was the fact that the day that I found out I'd passed was also, I'd moved into my first office probably a couple of days beforehand. And it just so happened that all of my family were down from other bits of the country. And so it was a great day. I passed my chartered exam. We all went out for dinner. They all came to my first office. And I just look back on that day as being a great day. I felt like it was all really everything was falling into place. You know, taking a few risks, and they were paying off. I think as as my team has got bigger, I've actually learned that my team are more important than my clients. So people put a huge amount of energy, and quite rightly so, into keeping their clients happy. But without a happy team, your business is, I'm not going to say it's destined to fail, it's destined to be inefficient, and it just means that your life as a business owner becomes unpredictable. You're always fighting, you know, if you have an unhappy team, you might lose team members, you might lose great people. That means that you're then pulled back into your business to try and fill those gaps. You've got new people coming in. You know, your team, having a great team is the most important thing, and your team really should be looking after your clients. So your clients are obviously still incredibly important, but as a business owner, your team are more important than your clients. That your team look after your clients, and you look after your team. That's a big lesson. And the other one is probably that you don't know what you don't know. So I am not a great reader. I can read, obviously. It's not that I'm not a great reader. I don't really like reading books. I've read more recently. I've learned a lot, but it's not just about reading books. It's about, I've had a business coach for 8-9 years, and somebody just told me to go to one of their workshops. Didn't think I needed a business coach, didn't know anything about the value they could add. I went, kind of really opened my eyes, and that's the same with consultants. You know, some people look at marketing, PR as just, maybe back in the day, putting an advert in the paper. It's not what it's about. And until you talk to really good professionals in different fields, you just don't know what you don't know. Same with leadership and management training. We've done a lot of that as a team recently. Everybody thinks they can manage a team, but actually, until you understand that subject, till you push the boundaries of that, some of the stuff can be like right out there. Emotional intelligence, getting your team to envision their personal goals, looking forward. That's the stuff that you don't know, but when you do know it, it makes a huge difference. I'm going to tempt fate. I don't think we've made a big mistake. In structural engineering terms, or in the world of construction, a big mistake is a big mistake. We haven't made one of those. And as a business owner, I don't think I've made one either. We make mistakes every now and then. They're small mistakes, but I think, you know, the key point of that is that you need to have systems and KPIs and a dashboard of information to allow you to make sure that you're not making those big mistakes, or you can see them coming. So from a business owner point of view, you need to be doing the simple things well. So looking at your finances, understanding your cash flow, so that all of a sudden you don't wake up one day and your bank account is empty, or you realise that your pipeline of work is non-existent. So it's looking at these things, spotting potential trends, spotting issues early so that you can fix them early. And then from a technical point of view, you know, as a structural engineering team, it's about having checks in place. It's about, you know, making sure that everybody understands what we're meant to be delivering it, how we're delivering it, and having those checklists and having those, you know, all of our projects are independently checked by another engineer within our team, and it's having those checks in place to make sure that big mistakes don't happen. We are set to probably double in size over the next 3 to 5 years. So that's not, you know, probably double in size of team, double in size of turnover, that sort of stuff. Increase our presence in Cambridge. We're doing quite well in Cambridge. We'd like to increase that presence. Cambridge is a great place for us to work. We're doing well there. But also, I guess, you know, going back to what I was talking about in terms of the team and the development of the team, kind of want us to be really, you know, at the top of our game in terms of people development and structural engineering expertise. So, you know, we're really kind of promoting personal development of every single member of the team, making them as good as they possibly can be. That doesn't just apply to new starters or younger members of the team, it applies to us as senior team members, leaders of the business. You know, we're all developing. I kind of want our business to be the place where engineers think, I'm going to go to Superstructures, I'm going to join Superstructures, and I'm going to be the best that I can be. That's kind of what I want it to be known for. The future for me personally, really interesting, because, you know, I started out running a structural engineering business because I loved structural engineering and I wanted to take responsibility. Going back to my earliest conversation about when I worked in catering, I thrive on responsibility. So I wanted to be doing structural engineering, but I wanted to have as much responsibility as I could have doing my own thing. But I've enjoyed the business side of things considerably more than I thought I would. You know, I love the business side of things. So I want to focus a bit more on that. And it might be that there are some other business opportunities that come along that can run alongside, but still being highly involved in Superstructures as a business. But, you know, the business stuff, building teams, projecting businesses forward, looking at growth, looking at mechanisms, I find that just, you know, really interesting. My engineering mind finds it interesting, and my creative mind finds it interesting. So, might be, you know, diversifying a little bit later on in the future. Yeah.